What's going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's Off the Air, and we are not inside of an aquarium like the song that somehow Ben. This is on you. That's aquarium elevator music. This is ridiculous. We're not looking at a fish tank. It's Tuesday nights off the air. We need something more electric. Thank you, Chaos. That's Chaos is responsible for that comment there. Let's get some music here. Let's get something going. We need better vibes than that. And I promise you I'm not this frustrated. We're going to have a great show. Happy Tuesday, everybody, and welcome to the program. Got to introduce my buddies because it's the usual suspects, but the best suspects of them all. First and foremost, get your twos up. It's a Tuesday all the way from the DMV. It's Shoddy. What's good, Shad?
I got you, bro. I got you. It's way better.
Yes.
The Republic. I don't know what that new intro is. We don't get the budget for Chaos' song, so we're gonna bootleg it right there. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Shad Talks Graps, and I am back on a Tuesday. It's been a month since I've been on a Tuesday night show, but y'all got the Tuesday night delight back in the place to be, and I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. Let's go, man.
I could not be more fired up, but also we cannot have a Tuesday without. Gosh dang it! Every single time I forget. He's from Louisville, and what was it we have to do again, Driz?
Good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. It is your boy Dryzzy, aka the Wrestling Plug. I want my old music back. What was that shit? No, what was no? It wasn't. That sound like no. It sound like the gun. It sound like the Gun's old thing before they got with the Bang Bang Gang. That's exactly what it sound like. All that, yeah. No. I feel like I'm in the elevator going up. I like the
dun 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 dun. That one that we had before. It felt a little like more like an NFL show.
Felt like something was coming.
I don't know when we changed the music. That's the part that's frustrating. That's frustrating to me.
I know. I noticed it on Sunday when we did Sunday Spotlight.
That's what I noticed. But I thought it was me. I just thought I was hearing stuff because I was like half asleep.
I noticed.
Yeah, had the rug pulled right out from under us. Nothing contemplated. Nothing. No discussion.
StreamYard. We gotta have these conversations before you just start changing shit.
You gone too far, StreamYard. You gone too far.
Didn't ask for it. Didn't want it.
Put it back. If I take my belt off.
Put it. Make it like it was
before I take my shoe off.
Exactly. We gotta be. Hey, we got our camera angle. This one back on this show. If we can get that back, we can get the theme music back.
Big facts. Big facts.
They try to take this away from us.
They try.
We got the good three-man camera angle back.
But we
always
try to take stuff up.
So we're supposed to talk about wrestling. Sorry.
Wrestling.
There is theme musics, and that is a part of wrestling. But we're going to talk about some NXT. Are we going to start with the Saints go marching in? Do we all do the pose? You can see him. You can see him, Ricky. I don't play for the Saints. Javon Evans.
Don't see.
Wesley. And then
he doesn't do that no more, dude.
Entirely all ego.
Yeah, why Wesley look like a member of mindless behavior, Jersey?
What happened?
Mrs. Right. I gotta
right. You look just like a mindless behavior member, bro.
If y'all don't know what mindless behavior is, think of B2K in 2010.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, Ricky Saint.
Say that. They're going to get you in the comments.
Ricky
Plural,
Saints.
buddy. Plural, good buddy.
Hey, I criticized this last week with Tristy. Trust me.
Hey man,
Ricky Saints is what it should be.
y'all wasn't there with Aaron Brooks.
Look, if y'all wasn't watching when he was on NWA Power, then I don't want to hear shit out your mouth.
Hey, by the way,
Every Henderson type time. What we doing, yo?
Aaron Brooke would have been pretty dope. I'm just saying.
Brooks.
I know who he is. Played linebacker. You know Simeon Rice?
Nah, he's the quarterback. What do you mean?
Singular. You're thinking the other Aaron Brooks. I was thinking the linebacker Aaron Brooks.
Was on the Saints before Drew Brees.
There's a couple of Aaron Brooks actually.
There's a number of Aaron Brooks.
There's the one that was on the Rockets.
And see, now we're struggling with plurals and singulars.
He was a sharpshooter. He went to Oregon. Talk about Aaron Brooks.
Oh, the basketball player? Wasn't there the Aaron Brooks, the 3-point shooter? That's just mean because that does exist too.
He was nice.
He always had a job. He was at corner 3.
Aaron Brooks.
He was short, though. Anyways, let's talk wrestling. My bad.
Okay, so Ricky Saints, it's old Javon Evans, was his partner, and it was Wes. Stop it! Knock it off, Shad. Dang it! Wesley and Ethan turned the pages. I guess. So dang it, let me hit the punchline. Ethan turned the pages. Okay, so it's Ethan turned the pages, Wesley's, Javon Evans's, and Ricky Saints.
Sleaze.
Yeah.
Sleaze ball.
Wesley's. Talk to me about the mat. Save me from this shot.
Bobby Petito's an Aaron Brooks basketball fan, by the way. Anyways, let's get back on the right track. Main event time. This was the debut of Ricky Saints. All right. And I thought this was a really good main event. I thought you got a good mesh of all these wrestlers being able to go out and deliver on a high quality match on a high quality episode of NXT. Javon Evans and Ethan Page extending their feud. And you kind of get the plans seated for Ricky Saints and Wes Lee feud to kind of, progress in that way. But, this was the show off for Ricky to let us know what he can do on NXT. And I thought he delivered. I thought he looked great. Ricky's a solid to amazing worker. I always thought he had great matches when he was in AEW. So you got a gist of that today. And you kind of got to see how much of a star he is in the NXT roster. And I mentioned it on Sunday Spotlight. Like, this is the shot in the arm that the NXT men's division desperately needed. We're talking about a top of the card, pretty thin. Most of the guys on the top of the card were in this match. You also include, obviously, a Obafemi and a Trick Williams in that conversation as well. But that's about it. So you look at it, you need someone like Ricky to kind of be another potential, whether it be a North American champ or whether it be the NXT champ. He brings that star power. He brings legitimacy. And the fans love him. They were chanting for him to be in the match at all times. They were looking for the hot tag at all times. He came in and he showed out. The other guys, you know what they do, man. Javon, sensational, generational talent. Ethan Page always plays his role right. And Wes Lee, the seasoned vet that's always doing his work. This is going to be a nice, core of dudes that you could shuffle around in the main event picture and, keep pushing that. So I'm pleasantly happy about all this.
So we got a huge inaugural victory for Ricky Stanks out of the gates. I mean, wait, what? Ricky wins is the net of it. And I hear where you're coming from, Shoddy. But dang it, why are we celebrating this so much? Ricky Saints isn't that good of a name.
What the name got to do with the talent, Clark Trader?
That was well played. Touche, my friend. But at the same time, here's my problem. And I'm not trying to cause a stir here. But really, was this like that much better than what we saw before from Ricky, whatever we call his last name, from all of that? And there's this when it comes to the rebranding, because I agree with you. You said a lot of positive things when it came to this match, and there were a lot of positives. In all seriousness, right? I'm not trying to make this a big, you know what I mean, thing. But was it that much better than what we had seen from him before? Did he elevate himself anywhere tonight? Not necessarily.
In what regards, like elevating to what he's done on NXT?
I mean,
or prior
from
to
what we thought he was capable of. Did he move himself up the card? I guess
it is entirely too early to expect him to move him and catapult him that high.
This
into
match wasn't this wasn't a we're gonna move him up, we're gonna strap a rocket to him type thing. This was I'm here. This is the big. This like I talked about it last week. This is the big reveal. They did the dramatic reveal of the name. Now they're doing the big dramatic reveal, the entrance, and what he can do in the ring, which he didn't seem like he missed a beat.
So this is something that's frustrating to me, and I wasn't just like trying to set this up like oh what the heck thing, but like look at All Ego Ethan Page and the way that he came into the company, right? And immediately challenges Trick Williams, immediately wins a title, and immediately is at the top of the card.
He did that on the first night.
All right. I want you.
He did that on the first night.
Or he
challenged on the second night.
Early.
No, he did it the first night.
He won the belt on the first night.
No, he didn't win the belt. He challenged for it. Challenged the very first night he showed up. As soon as he got there, and this is where I find it interesting because I'm not even saying like, I'm just saying in retrospect because we're already here. Hindsight's always 2020. It is fascinating
now,
because.
Of course. What I was about to ask you is like, what was the difference?
Yeah,
the difference
at the same time, though, it's wild to me because if you look at on paper, who's the bigger free agent? Well, it's Ricky Saints by 100,000 miles, and timing is so everything, and I think that's where it's really, really funky here.
Yeah, but he didn't have the caveat of being able to come in at the same time as Ethan Page. Their contracts ran out at a separate time. That's just like you said. Timing is always key, but that's just because that it dealt.
Let's put you in his shoes. You're coming in. You get to pick when you come in. In fact, would you want to come in with Obafemi as the champion or Trick Williams as the champion?
D, none of the above.
I'm trying Trick every single time because Obafemi is going to bitch press me and toss me 5 rows in.
It is, and I think that's a major factor. It's just it is funny to me like how timing is so relevant because there was so much discussion about like the All Ego's introduction to NXT, and obviously had the little half a Rock rub a while back. We had the Rock this week.
I mean, Ethan Page is doing pretty well for him.
No, I think he's doing solid.
He's never been anywhere else other than the main event since he got in NXT. That is true. But he also, I think he's been the first person since Kevin Owens to really get that type of treatment in NXT. Because nobody else has come in has been instantly shot to the moon like that. Everybody else has had some type of a grace period. Like even with Julia and Stephanie, they didn't go straight to the top. They had to wait a little bit, even a month.
They teased it, but they didn't get to it. Here's what I'm gonna say, right? And this is like me being completely honest, because we do the same. So historically, when AEW was coming up, and I don't want to make it an AEW WWE conversation, and I'm not making it a compare and contrast to who's better or not, because I think both companies are amazing and they're both respectful rights. But you look at it, when AEW was starting to come up and you had WWE with a bloated roster with a lot of talent, we were like, hey, it'd be cool to see some people get an opportunity to go somewhere else and shine. And we saw that. We saw WWE talents that were released going to AEW, become the stars that they are today. AEW now all of a sudden has a very stacked men's roster. I think they may have the most stacked men's roster in American wrestling. Truthfully, those two guys were, little fishes. They were in a big pond with a lot of fishes in there. They get out of there, and now they're in a smaller pool, and you get an opportunity to see the talent that they are. And they probably will be booked better because they're going to be in a smaller, pool of people that they can kind of work with and get a bigger light shine on them compared to where they didn't get to shine light on them as much because there's a crap ton of dudes on the other place. So I don't think it's bad in that manner. And I don't think he needs to get it right out the gates. I think Ricky's going to be at NXT for a little bit. And we'll have to wait and see what happens. Because, you got Tony D'Angelo's belt. Maybe that's a match we can go with. Maybe that's a feud, a title he can get off of him. I don't think he's going to get it off of Oba anytime soon just because Oba is like, we talk about it all the time, bro. He's the dominant force. He's the most dominant champion in the WWE, to be real with you. Now that Roman's not champ no more, he's the most dominant figure in the WWE that's a champion when you talk about strength, all of that.
Here's my problem with Ricky Saints and Ricky Starks in general, is he did his best work as a heel in AEW. By a lot. He's an awesome heel, and he was really good at it. Being a cocky heel, he's amazing at that. And then he became an internet darling, an internet babyface. We want to see him more often. That's why people fell in love with him. That's it. That's all. That's all we got. And I understand the being held back aspect of it and all of that. And he's a babyface now. That's not his wheelhouse. Ricky Starks isn't a howdy doody like you guy. That's not even how he walks around. Nobody poses like a male model that's like super baby face. And that juxtaposition is going to be real interesting now because the litmus test is now. We're going to see him in NXT. We're going to see him booked. We're going to see him week in and week out. And we're going to see what the scoop is, whether he works as a babyface or whether he works as a heel. But the reality of this situation is a lot of the Ricky Starks hype that we've seen of late doesn't have to do with on-screen babyface work. And yes, he's being presented as a babyface as some kind of hero that moved over there as some kind of martyr. And that's cool, but that's only going to take you so long.
That's not that's an asinine statement. A martyr.
I don't think it's asinine.
That is a fan base happy for someone because we haven't got to see him wrestle and we're getting to see him wrestle on TV now.
I think that's
nothing
fair.
About him being a martyr. It has nothing to do us waiting for him to go from one company to another. It's us excited to see a person we are a fan of be on our television, dog. Like that's
I do think there's a little bit of both there, but at the same time, do you not think a lot of
he's gonna suffer from Adam Cole syndrome. I used to call it undisputed era syndrome. They do cool shit, but when it's time to boo, they're gonna boo. The NXT audience is a whole lot more smarter than what most are. So they're gonna they understand that we're supposed to boo, but we do like you, boo. They're gonna boo when they're supposed to. They're gonna sit there and give the appropriate responses. They're some of the smarter fans in this. Not to call all fans dumb, but they are the ones who.
No, they're actually
part
like
of the show. They
wrestling fans. They go. The beauty of having a fans that are there every week is like they're watching the show every week and they're used to everything on the show every week while they're in attendance at the live location. So
yes,
no doubt about it. And I think, it is going to be what it's going to be, but it is interesting just the juxtaposition of all of it, the way that it went down, and
it's 2 weeks, man.
It's fun. It's funny though because so quick we forget about like details and whatnot, and it it I don't know. I think Ricky's
Details
great.
of what?
I think Ricky's great, but at the same time, I
You
also
dislike that man a lot. Damn, that's crazy.
no, not Ricky Starks. I think the idea of the like I want to leave and then dance on that grave thing is funny.
What? When did he publicly say that on air that he wanted to leave? Everything is based off
I
of
mean, he said it
dirt
in
sheets.
interviews.
He never said that in an interview. He said he wants to just do. He
He
said
said
he
he wanted
wants
to
to be
work.
used. He wanted to work. That means he could have worked at the place that he was at.
Yeah, exactly. I just
So we're gonna. Okay, you know what? That's a separate talk. That's a whole different conversation.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's I think for us to try to not believe a person in their situation and just I guess whatever, man. Go ahead. Let's go to the next topic. I think you spewing some shit that I'm not really fucking with right now.
All
So
right, we got Stephanie Vaquer and Carmen Petrovic.
match was made for me.
Match was made for you. Jotty talks just about it.
Nah, man, this match was definitely a great competition. I think Carmen Petrovic solidified herself as a worker tonight. She definitely came out, as a viable competitor. And I think a lot of people looked at that triple threat last week. Maybe she shouldn't be the one who should be in this match. You got a Kalani, you got a Jada Parker. These are more renowned people, but it made sense. Their bickering is going to lead them to a person sneaking one and getting in. But Carmen is a phenomenal wrestler, and I thought she did excellent against Stephanie Vaquer. But Stephanie Vaquer is she's that girl. She's definitely that girl. She comes in every week. It's kind of like a similar situation you see on Raw with like a Pentagon. Her wrestling tells it all. The look and everything about her, she looks absolutely amazing. She walks in like a superstar, but when the bell rings, she does stuff that is out of this world as a professional wrestler. I love the fact that Shawn Michaels is continuing his greatest hits soundtrack, where we had the Shawn Michaels sweet chin to the rope spot from the Shelton Benjamin, where Carmen hit it on Stephanie. I thought that was funny, but the main thing of this is what happened after the match, and this was Stephanie Vaquer and the beautiful madness Julia going face to face, and they are going to have a title for title match at Roadblock. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. They have incredible chemistry. They work so amazing against each other. It is something that makes a lot of sense. These are the two big signings that were brought into NXT. But to have a title for title match, I am not a big fan. And I say that to say this. The bread and butter of NXT is the women's division. It is very important to have two active titles and two active champions, because that gives us more ample storylines and that gives us more ample matches amongst the whole board. If you have one champ who got two belts, makes it a little bit more difficult. Now, if this is the real way we're going with them having a title for title match, I'm gonna love the match. I ain't gonna lie to you, and I'm gonna be happy for the champion. But I don't like the booking of it. I feel like it's way too early. Stephanie is so new to her title reign, and Julia is still new to her title reign. Let them go through the notions of feuding with all these women and have good storylines. I wouldn't personally do that, but hey, man, that's either here or there.
Yeah, and I hear where you're coming from when it
It
comes
feels
to both.
rushed. It feels rushed.
It,
Like they've literally been champions for all of maybe 2 months now. Between the two of them, it's too much.
Yeah.
And then NXT has never been a place where you can hold two single titles at one time. If we historically, Keith Lee had two belts at one time. He had to relinquish the North American title. Paige, she held the women's title and the NXT women's title. She had to drop the NXT title. You have to drop the lesser belt. So what's the point of having this title for title match if you can't actively hold both and defend both?
yeah, It seems so early. We've got a bunch of comments here too. We got Fernando Zayas with agree 100%. The belts should not be unified, but the match is going to be phenomenal. We've got Deontay Belladonna with it. It's not a good idea. IMO. The titles should be in should be on two different wrestlers, but I think Fatal Influence is going to interfere. And they can't do the Mercedes BS. Yeah,
Okay, hold up. All right, we're not about to take shots at the CEO real quick.
Yeah, I'm a CEO fan as well.
How many AEW belts does she have?
It's true.
Those other belts are a bunch of smaller companies that want her to have her belts because she's that damn good. So they ain't got nothing to do with AEW.
I just think the larger problem here is, look, the Julia and Vaquer rivalry is something that it almost doesn't need a title. They were such huge debuts and they've looked so great since they've been on the main roster. They've both challenged for multiple belts. They've both done a lot, been involved in a lot of wrestling and a lot of segments. And for it to sort of, if it's the first of a series, for it to end up being for both titles, that feels like the end of a story, not the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the issue that I have, right? It's like it feels like it feels like it's got to be something that builds for longer. I don't know.
And plus that's like a stand and deliver type of match, like on a Mania weekend, right? Not on a Tuesday special roadblock in the most disgusting city in the entire world, New York.
Terrible.
Tell us how you feel.
Gross.
Yeah.
Those poor women have to wrestle in New York. Feel so bad.
This is rushed. It's really rushed. They haven't even been with the company a full 6 months, and we're already getting to this. Like, we gotta slow down, y'all. Like,
at Madison Concrete Garden.
And then you got like, you know what? And this is something else that like annoys me too, because you have two very talented women that are in a makeshift tag team, and I get it. The dynamic is funny, cool, and they're talented because they're amazing. What the hell are we doing with a Sol Ruka? What the hell are we doing with a Zarya? Like, why aren't they feuding with these two? Those are two separate feuds that you could put in
more than enough talent to figure something out there. Like, I'm 100% with you.
I'm even gonna add that to it. It feels like they've booked themselves into a corner with all three of those women because they don't want Zarya to lose, they don't want Stephanie to lose, and they don't want Julia to lose, even though she's already lost. But you can lose to Roxanne.
Yes.
But they do not want those three to lose right now because actively, who's gonna beat them between each other? It's just them.
Well, I guess that could be a segue to the next topic because there is also another person.
Sean.
Can't lose.
Coach 23,
I know Anthony Manzano. You think there's gonna be shenanigans, bro?
No, Coach 23 over on Instagram has the greatest comment of all time. He just goes, "Wow, the hate on the concrete jungle where dreams are made of is just wow."
Oh man, sorry, ho.
Monster shout out, Coach 23. That got me way too good.
Jay-Z sitting in his house right now, like
he's like, got the little mamas.
Can't possibly be talking about the Garden that way.
Sorry, man. I'm amped up today, man. All right.
Shame. We're all fired up here. Yeah. Let's talk about not a Mercedes, but Alexis King. Against Moose, the man they call Moose.
I just realized something. There's a bar to it. You know why his beard looks like that? Because he's from Cincinnati, the Tiger Stripes, the Bengal. Right, that's got to be it, right?
In the interest of fairness,
this was a hometown. Yes, it was. Damn, I just thought about that. That's crazy. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Hold up. Before we get to this, last night Logan Paul said in his promo, "This is Cincinnati, the place where they ruined Joe Burrow." And Pat McAfee's like, he went to the Super Bowl, you dumbass.
No, the best was, did you also see the clip of Michael Cole putting McAfee over when he did the like, you put a sport where you could have some broken ribs, and he goes, I put a position where you could never have your ribs broken. He goes, if I broke my ribs, I would be crying.
Yeah.
And he goes, I was trying to put you over.
They're like, I appreciate that, but don't.
That was funny.
Yeah, no, not me. It's so freaking funny. That's golden. Okay, so anyway, Moose and Lexus King, and yeah, I mean Moose. By the way, 270 pounds flying through the air. That's apparently a normal thing now. Between him and Jacob Fatu, we have flying men of that size. That's a standard in professional wrestling. I don't know how we top that. There's not enough trampolines in the world to train this any further. So I don't know what we do to push it beyond that. But that spot from Moose is electric. He's a big, strong dude. He's nasty. Driz, what were your thoughts on this match? And poor Lexus King was never going to be X Division champ, was he?
Yeah, he never had a chance. But Moose is an individual that every time you see him, you forget he's easily forgettable. But every time he gets in the ring, he kind of snaps you right back. Oh yeah, he is him. He is that person in the TNA. For him to even be the X Division champion, you look at it in the history of the X Division, and I guarantee people are like, no, there's no way he fits that division. There's no way he fits that mode. There's no way he fits that division. And tonight, he shows that yet again. I am personally not the biggest Moose fan for personal reasons, but Moose is one of the best big men in wrestling. He doesn't get talked about a lot for other reasons, but Moose has always been a solid worker and always has, at least for the last 5 years, has been pretty consistent and pretty good at doing the amazing moves, the amazing feats of strength, the amazing high flying. In fact, a few years ago, he had a match with Rich Swann. Absolutely a stunning match. And like I said, he is easily forgotten, but every time he gets in the ring, he reminds you who he is and how good he is.
I could not agree more. I will also say this, by the way. Deontay, great friend of the show, he doesn't fit that division because he's a heavyweight, LOL.
As a TNA Shield, the
Kevin Nash
is not about weight limits. It's about no
limits. Jinx.
Yeah.
That is.
Ask Samoa Joe, Kevin Nash,
Lashley,
Abyss, other big guys, all of the big dudes.
All of them.
I mean, it's so much fun.
Him and Lashley was having them feuds when he was in TNA too, and those were some good matches.
Manzano added that we forget that he was an NFL defensive end. I mean, honestly, 40 years old to move like that, Shad, dude.
Success, and he was he had a pretty successful career. Like, he was one of the dudes that lasted like longer in the league, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yeah. And here's where I think it's gonna be most fun, Shad. And this is what I was like kind of turned to you.
Oh, by the way, Monty Brown, by the way.
Monty Brown. Marcus Corvon.
Yeah,
but same guy, right? But at the same time, Obafemi opposite Moose is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of triple threat matches for Obafemi lately. This is going to be really good. I'm excited about that one-on-one.
Yeah. Yeah. You and me talked about it when we were watching it. This is the litmus test for Obafemi. This is the biggest, strongest athletic person that can match what he does. And it's also a person who's a seasoned vet. Now, I'm going to be real with you. I ain't a big Moose fan either. I think he's a phenomenal professional wrestler. It would be really cool to see him have a run in WWE or in AEW, one of these big companies, just because he, hasn't had that. Even though TNA, he was part of it during the big times of it, and it has calmed down a little bit. But he's a staple there, and he's a real big flag bearer, and I respect the hell out of him for that. And him going against Obafemi, that means something, man. That means one of the best in TNA is going against one of the best in NXT. It's a, King Kong versus Godzilla type of matchup, right? Clash of the Titans. One of these situations that it is a box office match. And I'm curious to see how it goes, man, because part of me feels like this should be another day in the office for Obafemi, and I do think he will retain. But like veteran leadership, man, like being in this business as long as he has, going against some of the we just named a whole rack of people that Moose was going against in TNA during that time frame. Experience is key. Oba is still a young pup in this business, and he's hit success so fast. Now, can that, roadblock be Moose? Because that's the pay-per-view name. I know.
I dig that. I like that. I love it. I want
Yeah,
some more of it.
This is title for title, isn't it?
They said that, but then
It is.
Ava didn't say that.
Ava didn't. That's what bothered me too. She didn't say it about either, and they said it about both before.
So
that actually bothered me today. I'm super glad you said that, Sean.
Now let's say it is title for title,
thing.
right? Let's say it is title for title. Obafemi being a double champion could be what's best for business.
Yeah.
Obafemi being on weekly programmings on TNA would be fresh, and it would bring a whole lot of star power to them that's young too.
Yes.
You talk about him versus like a Nick Nemeth, Joe.
But then he has to
It
lose.
does, but that's my. We've seen this story before. I'm not sure this is a route to go there, because how did the Kenny situation work? It didn't.
Yeah.
And I really can't see how. And I'm gonna be for real. The X Division title is probably the most historical title in TNA.
Like important, I would say.
I'm not sure I would want anybody from another company holding my most prestigious belt.
Yeah.
Like for business wise, I don't like that idea.
Same thing with NXT though. This is where it's tough.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with Moose
booked into a corner.
Yeah, Moose. So I don't think it is for title. I think it's gonna be probably for the NXT title.
That might have been said on accident.
That Oba said it.
I know.
I'm not gonna correct him.
Yeah, who's gonna tell Oba what
you say, big man? Whatever you say, big fella.
Okay, let's talk about promos though. Let's talk Jordan Grace. Pop Rocks, Roxanne. Jordan Grace cuts a great promo. I'm actually glad that they gave Jordan the mic finally. She's done a great job since she debuted. I like the way that they've brought her along thus far in NXT and into the fold because she is a major factor. This was a cool promo. But this whole Roxanne between the main roster and NXT thing, we got to figure this out sooner rather than later. And that's shoddy. That's why I'm going to toss it to you. What do you think there?
Thank you, good brother, because I agree with you 100% on that. Roxanne losing that match, the last match that she had for the title in that fatal 4-way should be the send-off. If that's not the send-off, it should be her and Cora Jade and her putting Cora Jade over. Roxanne Perez is a established wrestler on the main roster now. She is in the Elimination Chamber. She beat a champion now that is Raquel Rodriguez for the spot, and she is the longest time in a Royal Rumble against the entirety of the WWE women's roster, only losing to the final elimination to Charlotte Flair. She's locked in. She's solidified. We don't need her to be in NXT anymore at that case. All right. The main roster needs Roxanne Perez more than NXT needs Roxanne Perez. You are literally in a limbo right now this coming weekend because nobody has an actual storyline to build to go against a Rhea Ripley. But I can sell you a ticket. I can sell you a ticket that Roxanne Perez could be a viable competitor because she went through the ringer, like I said, in all those situations. But she is a renowned NXT champion coming into the main roster. She's young. She could win the Elimination Chamber. She could lose the Rhea, but you could be like, all right, this isn't the last rodeo for her. She gonna fight her way back to get a title. That's what they need to do. We need to create more superstars on the main roster. You have an established superstar built from NXT going there. Don't let her teeter-totter go in there. Her and Jordan Grace don't need to feud. Like I said, Jordan Grace could feud with a whole bunch of women on that roster, bro. Like,
Yeah,
like we don't need to do that.
more than enough candidates, and I completely agree with you. That is the number one issue here. Like, Roxanne needs to be Monday Night Roxanne ASAP.
Mhm.
Yeah, that
Like-
alone is just a beautiful freaking name. to
Yeah,
sell
it
off of.
just it fits.
And like the
Oh,
thing
you
is
gotta get
this
the
too.
old school Raw shirt. Yeah, definitely.
Peep this too, bro.
Yes.
Like
Roxanne.
Netflix has been the best thing for the main roster because they booked
been
that
awesome.
show like it actually means something. And it means something for like the women's division too. Roxanne getting the IC title off of Lyra eventually, like stuff like that, having an ongoing feud with Bailey. Like there's so much stuff that she can do that's gonna be beneficial for her on the main roster. And it's more compelling TV for Raw. Like, yeah, I don't need to have a filler feud with Jordan Grace.
I agree. Driz, what are your thoughts on Roxanne and Jordan?
I don't care too much for it. Honestly, I feel like we've seen this movie before. So why are we going back to this well again? We've seen it. The only thing I can think of is they're doing this so that Jordan can get her win back. Because if you remember, Roxanne beat Jordan with the help of Ash by Elegance. So now there's no more Ash by Elegance. It's definitely a chance for Jordan to get her win back, and then it's time for the snowball to go down the hill and gain more momentum because the way things are going right now, they're rushing all their women right now. The top of the card anyway. They're rushing all of it, and they really need to slow down.
I agree. I agree 100%.
And what's up? Like, come on, man. My girl Cora J deserved the last win over Roxanne, and that's it, man.
I picked Cora to win weeks ago. I'm still not over it.
She's gonna beat Masha Slamovich, and she's gonna be the first NXT wrestler to have a TNA title, as she should. I am a Cora Jade stand now, yo. I want y'all to know that.
I was about to say she's going to turn Masha Slamovich into Masha.
Slam a B word.
Yeah,
we can
She's
cut
gonna
them.
Masha slam a bitch.
Yeah, there it is. He did it.
Just
He did it.
Just like
He
Greg
said it.
Popovich. Nah.
I put a quarter in the
Wasn't
swear
me.
jar. My bad, guys.
Yeah, put a dollar in the swear jar. Okay, speaking of swear jars, let's all do the juke. So it's according to Santino Marella, it's the Hard Boys
Boss.
taking on the No Quarters Catch Crew
You wildin'.
in this one, and then the Hard Boys are going to now take on Traxium, which I think is Fraxium. So I think Fraxium is wrestling the Hardy Boys after this. I think it's a pronunciation. It's a language barrier thing. And so, yeah, the Hardy Boys wrestled the No Quarter Catch Crew. If you didn't catch all of that, speaking of catching, got him. Heck of a match. Hardy Boys go over. Great to hear that song in WWE again. Nothing but net, as far as I'm concerned. Drizzy, what were your thoughts? And then we've got a great tag match here for the TNA tag team titles. The Hard Boys against Traxium.
The Hard Boys were very good. No, it was a really good match. It brings back memories seeing the Hardys in WWE again. Granted, it is NXT, and it's good seeing them mix it up with new, younger tag teams. I think that they probably are giving a lot of lessons in the back at the same time, but I am not intrigued by seeing the Hardys and Fraction. I feel like that we should probably be on the downside of the Hardy reunion. As much as I love seeing the Hardys, I don't think we need to have belts in these. I really think that it should be just, you know what, the past versus the past versus the present. Let's just have a little match like that. We don't have to have belts or anything. The Hardys are, I don't want to say they're shells of their former selves, but just looking at it, I'm not a victim of the nostalgic of it. Like, I understand what they mean to tag team wrestling and everything, but they just, you ever feel like you've outgrown a wrestler? That's kind of how I feel about
Yeah.
the Hardys. I've kind of outgrown them now. Like, I appreciate everything they've done in wrestling. I appreciate them. I appreciate everything that they have done. Period, for tag team wrestling as a
But
whole.
I've seen enough.
Yeah, it's like I'm ready to go ahead and put them in the Hall of Fame. I'm ready to give them their flowers. I'm ready for Matt to be able to just chill and get a nice backstage creative job, because one of the better minds in creative in wrestling, I think, in these last few years has come from
Yeah.
Matt Hardy.
Plus, he has got like 115 kids.
Yes, because he needs to get. Well, you see his wife. I mean, you blame him?
In the interest of fairness, we have the Hardy Boys defeating the No Quarter Catch crew and then taking on Fraxium down the road. Traxium, the Hard Boys, if you listen to Santino Morella on this one. You excited about it? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's an interesting matchup because you bring in a young generation that is kind of similar to the Hardy Boys in speed, athleticism, high flying, and Fraxium. And you got them against the OGs, man. You got them against the guys that these two dudes were probably watching, emulating as kids. And that alone always makes it a fun matchup. So for the matchup, I'm excited for it. I thought tonight's match was cool. You know, they did their thing. Salute to the No Quarter Catch crew. These guys are solid workers. But the Hardys just getting that pop and coming back to WWE on NXT was a pretty awesome sight to see. I mean, the crowd was absolutely electric. It's so great to hear that music. The nostalgia factor of it was more or less what made me happy. In regards of the Hardy Boys in 2025 as wrestlers, I can't lie to y'all. It is, it's not an amazing sight to see. They are older. You know, their bodies have gone through the ringer, especially Jeff Hardy. Um, and it isn't, high quality pro wrestling, but I respect the guys that I grew up watching since I was a kid, and I respect that they still go for it. They look happy and healthy, man. And that's more or less what I'm happy about. So, all in all, I wasn't, insulted about it. I ain't gonna do a Jeff Hardy flip off of a ladder in excitement, but it was cool.
I'm with you there. Yeah, it's getting near the end with the Hardys. It's fun to see them when they show up. It was fun to hear the music. It
By
was
the
cool
way,
on NXT.
bigger news though. They're gonna honor Jeff Hardy at Wale Mania this year.
That's gonna be cool.
Yes, that's fair.
So that's dope. And man, Jeff is like, I can never hate Jeff Hardy.
No, Jeff Hardy's a
That's,
legend.
and as I said, that's why it was so impossible for him to be a heel. It was
Yeah.
impossible for him to be a heel when he was the antichrist of professional wrestling. It just, nah. Jeff
Even
Hardy
like
is universally loved.
when he did the Willow stuff, like it didn't like
Was
it hit, but like
Yeah.
the as a heel, you're just like, but that's Jeff Hardy.
That joint was weird, bro.
You know what I mean?
He's supposed to be. He's the Wisp, Willow the Wisp. But
Willow the Wisp.
It was so
Alright.
not weird in a
Either
good
way.
way. That joint was so straight. It was whatever. Salute
That
to
brings
Jeff.
us to the end of tonight's show. Thank you, everybody that tuned in. We really appreciate it. We're back every single Tuesday night, immediately following NXT here on Off the Air on behalf of me, Dryzzy, and
Thursday.
Shad. Thank you so much for tuning in.
This Thursday.
That's what I was about to get to, Driz. I'm going to leave it to you there. What's happening on Thursday? Is there something going on?
Thursday is the series premiere of Grappling for Positions, Wrestling Safe Space to say whatever and whenever and put it on a list. Ladies and gentlemen, me and a panel every 2 weeks will get together and create a top 10 list of anything. Topics of love stories, tag teams, from the goofiest things to the most serious things. Tune in this Thursday for the first episode.
Absolutely. I had the pleasure of being on the first episode, by the way. And I will say, despite what anyone thinks, I followed the rules. Ask Drizzy, the host. I
This one
followed
did,
the
yeah.
rules.
This
I
one
did.
Yes, he did.
I stayed inside of the rules. I did it. I made it.
Follow
He colored
rules.
inside the lines. Good job,
I
Clark.
did it. I kept it. I kept it. I kept it clean. I kept it ready. Either way, that does bring us to the end of the show. Seriously, thank you so much. We've also got Sunday Night Spotlight, all that other stuff. Please check it out. Everything on WR. If you haven't liked it, subscribe. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. If I could speak English, that would be great. But either way, have an excellent Tuesday night. We'll talk to y'all soon. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon.